Let's do a deep dive into the forehand technique of Holger Rune. Now, this video is courtesy of Court Level Tennis on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to their awesome channel. I've put their link in the description below. So let's watch these two forehands, and then we'll analyze them. Now, the first thing we need to look at is his grip. He uses a semi-Western grip. This is what it looks like. He places the base knuckle of his index finger and his heel pad on panel number 4. Second, you want to notice his early racket prep. He does a good job. The moment he split steps, right there is his split, right there. He's split stepping as the opponent hits. He immediately starts preparing the racket. You watch a lot of racket players, they keep the racket in front of them as their feet are moving all around, and then when the ball bounces, that's when the racket goes back. You cannot be a pro player waiting for the ball to bounce to then take your racket back. The ball travels too fast and too deep. You'll notice when he does this, though, he does not do it with his left hand on the throat of the racket. This is pretty interesting. He kind of does this the way Hachanov does it, where the moment he sees it's a forehand, he actually lets go with his non-hitting hand and he preps the racket with just his right hand. Now, he does bring the left arm back and stretch it over toward the camera, and he's using this as a coiling mechanism, just something a lot different than what you see with Alcaraz. Alcaraz takes the racket back with both hands. That's actually how I do it. I do it with both hands. But he immediately lets go with the left hand and then preps the racket by himself. By itself. You'll also notice his racket is very Del Potro-like. You look at most pro players, and their racket is at an angle like this, where the tip of the racket is pointing up and forward over the net. But you look at Holger, tip of the racket is pointing straight up. It's a very classic way to prepare. If you find yourself late a lot on your forehand and you have the typical, that next gen type of forehand where the racket is pointing forward or the tip of the racket's pointing forward over the net, try using more of the Del Potro or Holger type of prep where the tip of the racket is pointing up. It simplifies the swing, takes less time, and it's easier to handle tougher and more difficult situations. Now, here's where we see him sit down in the chair right here. See how low he is? There's this idea that when you hit, you're supposed to have like a ceiling above your head. Well, if we take a ceiling and put it right above his head, and supposedly he's not going to go through that ceiling, that's not what you want to do at all. Watch what Holger does. He obviously goes way through that ceiling. When you're hitting, you want your body to go up prior to contact. This gets the energy from your legs, through your arm, and into the ball. Our body uses a kinetic chain, and that goes through the body, but it really starts from the ground, pushing down against the ground. Now, you'll notice his upward movement is done by the time he contacts. So, yeah, if you want to say, hey, don't be going up as you hit, that's fine. But you'll notice his head goes up, right? If we draw that same line again across the top of his head goes up, but now notice as he hits, he's no longer going up. So the energy is now able to transfer through his arm and into the ball. So don't be afraid to use that Vic Braden, sit in a chair and press down against the ground so that your body comes up. You'll get a tremendous amount of racket speed because of it. I'll show you actually on the next forehand, he does the same thing. Here he is sinking way low. We put the ceiling above his head and watch his body come up. Now, by the time he contacts the ball, the body is no longer going up. So that's the idea. You sit in a chair, you stand up, you get a ton of power from the ground and through your legs and through your arm and into the ball from this. But don't buy the idea you're supposed to stay low as you hit every ball. It's simply not what happens for the majority of the ground strokes you're going to be hitting. Now, while he was standing up on this forehand, there's a very clear relationship between his racket and his left arm, his non-hitting arm. Please check this in your own forehand. Watch how his racket goes down, and while the racket goes down, his non-hitting hand goes forward. Watch this. See that? Watch how the racket goes down and the non-hitting hand goes forward. This is critical. If you are someone who struggles rotating your body, rotating your shoulders and your hips into the shot, it might just be because of your left arm, your non-hitting arm. You have to make sure that your non-hitting arm is at least parallel to the net, which is what Holger's doing here. You look at Alcaraz, he takes the racket back with both hands, so his non-hitting hand goes past parallel to the net. But he's got his non-hitting arm parallel to the net. And this allows for the non-hitting hand to clear. Look at his left hand going forward as the racket drops. This sets the stage for the body rotation that is required, because when you hit a ball, you don't want to hit it with your arm as much as you want to rotate the body, and the arm goes for a ride. So he's rotating his body in order to hit. And what clears the way for that body rotation is clearing the non-hitting hand. What I typically see is players either keep it here, rec players, or they just drop it. And that impedes hip turn. If you've ever seen someone, or if you feel like you cross your arms when you hit the ball, like you're giving yourself a hug, it's because you're not making this move. If you struggle with clearing your hips and rotating, it's all because of the non-hitting hand. Move that non-hitting hand forward as the racket drops, and it makes rotating into the shot a breeze. Now, if we look at the stance, he's in a semi-open stance. And as the racket drops, I want you to look at his string bed. Look where the strings are pointing. His racket face is closed. If you're not doing this, then you're simply not hitting forehands as well as you could. Because when your strings face down in the back, and they don't have to be facing directly down, they could be at an angle. But when your strings face down, they will face forward when you strike. And you can see that with Holger right now. His strings are facing forward right there. His strings are facing forward as he strikes the ball. He's got the classic low to high swing. Look at his racket following that line, right? It's not like super steep, but it's definitely not level. Like he's not swinging straight across like that, but he's got the low to high swing path. And how is that possible? Because his racket face is tilted down. His racket face is closed. Now, this is grip dependent a bit, right? The more Eastern, maybe it's a little harder for you to close. The more full Western, it's very easy for you to close, but you've got to close the racket nonetheless in order to get the top spin and the low to high swing that's going to give you the control you want over the ball. And then last, look at this extension. Holy smokes. You'll see here, his strings are facing forward out in front of him. His strings are basically facing right there. That's a classic move that the pros use as a way to move the racket face up the ball for more spin. What you wouldn't want is for the hitting strings to like be facing the back fence, which is more common than you think. You want to have that slight rotation of the racket where the racket right here is to the side of his hand, and now the racket is out in front, yes, but his racket is above his hand, if you will. That extension makes it very easy to direct the ball where you want it to go. Now, you'll notice the swing path was more like this, right? Because he's more driving through the ball. Like that's a driving through the ball extension, by the way. Like I know people and coaches have been talking recently how you're supposed to swing level and don't swing low to high. It's simply not the case. Look at his hand. Look at his hand follow that line. Look at his racket follow that line. But if we go to the next forehand, you can see even more so that upward swing path. Here's the racket face closed, and look at him swing up from low to high. Holy smokes. Beautiful. That's going to impart the top spin on the ball. He's going to feel tons of control. Copy these ideas and your forehand's going to improve. Now, if you're in the market for a new ball machine, here are 5 reasons why I recommend the Proton Ball Machine by Hydrogen Sports. And number 1, it's so lightweight and convenient to use. It only weighs 17 pounds. In fact, this ball machine weighs less than the ball hopper that you're going to take to the courts. Easy to use. It's so small and compact. You can easily put it right behind your car seat, right? You don't even have to put it in the trunk. You can just put it right on the floor behind your driver's or passenger seat. Super convenient. If you're not using your ball machine because it's big and bulky and heavy and cumbersome, check out the Proton because it's going to solve that problem. Reason number 2 that I love the Proton is the detachable battery. So many of you have really big and bulky ball machines that you have to take out of your car, take it into the house, and plug it in. This detaches, so you can just leave the ball machine in your car if you want, and just bring this into the house, and it charges just like a cordless drill. Super convenient. It charges extremely quickly, lasts forever. I mean, just like 8 hours, like it'll just last forever. So you're not going to run out of battery power, I can promise you. And then you're ready to go. So the fact that recharging the ball machine is so convenient, I love it. Reason number 3 I love the Proton is it's fully programmable. Now, when it arrives, it's got about 15 different drills already programmed in it, but you can create your own drills easily, and I mean easily, it takes no time at all. You control where you want the ball to land, you control the speed you want it to go, the spin, the amount of time in between each shot. It makes it really fun to be able to watch tennis on TV, see a certain pattern that you see the pros using, and then you just program it into your phone, and the next time you hop on the courts, it's right there. And not only can you control the ball machine with your phone, but you can use your watch. So you can just keep your phone on the side and you start it and stop it with your watch, going through all the drills that you want to practice. Super convenient. Now, the fourth thing that I love about the Proton just so happens to be my favorite, which is the light on the front that blinks 4 times really fast before the ball is going to come out. The light is like purplish blue, and it doesn't matter how bright of a day it is, you can easily see it. Think about when we hit on a ball machine, how it helps us with our stroke, sure, but we don't get to use a split step because we have no idea when the ball is going to come out. This light blinks 3 or 4 times right before the ball comes out. So as soon as you see it start blinking, you do a split step. So you can time a perfect split step and learn how to actually not just use great strokes, but actually use great footwork. The fact that this ball machine allows you to learn the proper timing of a split step and use the split step to change direction and get to more balls, incredible. And number 5, you get free shipping in the USA with my link. So at the end of this video, a link is going to pop up on the screen, then use that during checkout for free shipping. So click right there to check out the Proton Ball Machine, and with that link, you're given a coupon code for free shipping. Go out and film yourself hitting forehands and compare your technique to Holger's. If you do, there's no doubt you're going to gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. This is Ryan Reedy from 2MinuteTennis.net. You got this.